Morning. Welcome back to the channel. It's been a while since I posted a video, and I'm just down at Scarborough. It's first light, or it's about to be first light, so the sun won't rise probably for another, I don't know, 30-40 minutes, but we'll certainly have a little bit of light down here. What I thought I'd do is a series of videos. I haven't posted for a while, and I have fished a few times, but I've had that hour or two spare, and I thought, well, bugger it, rather than buggerise around with cameras and whatnot, I just go fishing, and I have been. So what I thought I'd do is a series of videos about spots. I'm gonna work my way around the peninsula and then probably go over to Sandgate. So I don't know how many videos this will be, but this is the first. I'm going to go clockwise from Scarborough around to Hayes Inlet over this first series, and then I'll cross the bridge, do from Brighton around to Shorncliffe. Scarborough. The first thing I do when I fish Scarborough is look at Wily Weather. So I'm just going into an app called Wily Weather. Today's Thursday the 26th of May, and I'm in Redcliffe, so we'll just go Scarborough, that's where I'm at. And Scarborough today, Thursday, 16 to 22. Now the things that interest me most are rainfall, for my comfort, not for the fish. And today we're going to have between 5 and 10 mil at 90%, which isn't too bad. It's not a massive amount. The wind is predominantly from the south, and it's from 10 to about 15 knots, which isn't too bad, especially for Scarborough, because that brings the wind to your back. Moon phase, we're getting down toward the no moon, which is a really good time to fish. And we're going to more tides, and the tides today, 0.32 is 0.7, 6.30 is 2 metre tide, so it'll be high tide at 6.30. The time at the moment is 6 o'clock. So almost at a high tide now, which is perfect for this area. Once I've looked at Wily Weather and I know that I've got the right tide, it has to be a high tide here for me, so so from an hour before high to an hour after high is my fishing window here at Scarborough. And the reason that is at low tide it's dead empty, so when you cast from the bank at low tide you'll actually see your bait on the ground. There's no water. So what you want is water, and you get that on a good tide. So the moon phase is right for Scarborough right now. It's a couple of days away from a no moon, so the tide's getting bigger. It's a 2 metre tide, which means when you cast right now from the shore, you cast 50 metres out, or anything up to 50 metres out, and you'll be in probably about 1.5 to 2 foot of water. That's plenty of water for bream whiting and flathead, and that's the target species here. Oh, and squid in the wintertime when the water's not completely filthy. Top water fishing is one of my favourite things to do at Scarborough, because it's so shallow. Even in dirty water you'll get top water strikes, and I've done quite a bit of top water fishing down here, and it always seems to go really well for me. Bait fishing down here is definitely on the cards, especially right up here near the entrance to the canals. If you're into shark fishing, shovelies get up here in big numbers, and also in good sizes as well. You'll also catch everything that is in the canals. There is the occasional jack here, mostly bream. The canals, I wasn't going to do the canals because it's a boat only type area. All the places that, as you go around the peninsula, are land based and boat based, so you can do both. The canals, you can fish land based at the sort of the cul-de-sacs of each canal, but I don't know, I don't. It's strictly a boat thing for me, the canals, so I'll leave that for a separate video altogether. It's an awesome place to fish though, really is. The canals really fire up in the winter time. So I'm just walking over to the mouth of the canals. I'll give you a look at this area. So this is the Newport Canals at Scarborough. This is the mouth of the canals. Top of the tide, you will catch bream here. Burley. If you're going to come here, don't do what everybody else does and just throw a line in with a bit of bait. You might catch one, and you might not. You burley here, especially at night time. you will catch bream. And this is a low tide as well as a high tide place. The little pontoon here at the mouth of the canals. You want to get serious about fishing, this is where you want to be. This rock wall that leads here from the mouth of the canals all the way around to the car park at the Scarborough boat ramp where the Coast Guard is. So this rock wall in the winter time, when the water's really clear and a high tide, come down here with your squid rod and your jig. You won't get very many snags here, it's nearly all sand. There's weed patches everywhere, and that's what brings the squid in. And you just walk along here fan casting. So I don't sight fish this one. You can, but because the water's a very similar depth for a long way out, the squid can be sitting pretty much anywhere. They rarely sit up here. They do sit up here, you will see them occasionally, but rarely. Anyway, back to bream. Bream fishing, 2 ways to fish for bream here. That's flicking top water and bait fishing. I don't use sinking lures here for bream, although you will catch bream on sinking lures, but it's just too shallow, and there's patches of it that are very weedy. I don't know, top water seems to work really well here because of the depth. It's quite shallow, foot and a half, 2 foot, depending on where you're casting. Bait fishing, I'll get a nice comfy chair, 2 rods, burly hard and sit in one spot. I don't move. If I'm top water fishing, I'll be set up so that I can keep walking, so I'll have my shoulder bag on, and I'll just keep walking along this rock wall until I've got a feed or until I'm sick of it. My favourite wind here is from the south, which is what we've got today, but it's a very gentle breeze at the moment. It's supposed to be between 10 and 15 knots. It's certainly not that. 99% of the days in this area anyway, I can't really speak for anywhere else, right at first light, very little wind. I don't know why that is, but it's one of my favourite times of day. Rarely get poor weather on first light. There's also, if you've got a couple of kids that you want to entertain while you fish, this is a perfect spot for kids. You've got swings and gyms and a huge amount of park area to kick balls and whatnot here. So a great place for the kids. Right around the Scarborough end in the summertime, there are shallow clean banks the other side of a set of mud flats. Those shallow clean banks seem to attract the whiting, so in the summertime, if you've got worms, especially if the worms are dug from the local area here, the peninsula, you will get a feed of whiting. People talk about spots. Before I go, let me tell you about spots. Probably the most common question I get is, do you have a good spot for me? And the answer is yes. Any given set of circumstances on any given day will render good spots. Likewise, it'll also render bad spots. This is a good spot today. Tomorrow, with a northerly, it may be a terrible spot. So there are no good spots. There's spots, and you just got to pick the time you fish in any area based on the conditions and the target species and the time of year. If you do that, you'll catch fish. Anyway, that's it from me. A short video about one of my favourite spots, Scarborough. This will be a series of videos, so if you haven't, subscribe, and you'll see the next video hopefully in the next week or two. Make sure you hit that like button for me, subscribe to the channel, and until the next video, take care. Today we're going to do a video about surface fishing for bream. I'm down here at Scarborough, but locations are endless on the peninsula and probably where you live as well, but on the peninsula we've got choices here. In the southeast breeze, I really like Scarborough because it's nice and flat over this side. Anything from the north or the northwest, I go over to Woody Point, and the two locations both lend itself to surface fishing for bream. And what I look for in that area is at low tide, I don't want any water at all, and at high tide I want 2 to 3 feet of water, which both of those locations give you exactly that. Both really good locations for the top water on bream. The gear I use, firstly the rod. The rod's just a cheap stick. It's a Shimano Sonic Pro 6'6". We use a 6'6" because it fits in my car really well. 3 to 5 kilo this one, a nice stiff rod, and doesn't matter whether I hook up on a nice big flathead or a little bream, this one will handle it. The reels are Shimano Stratic. It's a 2,500 reel. It's a 5-pound braid. Braid's getting quite old now. It's a couple of years old, that braid. Probably due to change it over. And I use a 10-pound fluorocarbon leader. The business end, the leader is normally 1 metre long. That's only a foot this time. I've used it for a little while. It's due to be changed. But the leader is connected to the main line via an FG knot. Nice good knot. Very easy to tie. This one's tied without tension. I'll leave a link for that video if you're interested. Then down to the lure. The knot I use here is a loop knot. I don't know if you can see that. That loop knot just gives a little bit of freedom of movement when you're retrieving, get a bit better action on the actual lure. This lure is Bass Day Sugar Pen, straight out of the box. These are size 8 hooks by the look of it. And quite often I'll change these hooks. It's just getting a little bit rusty now. I'll change these hooks over to a size 10, and the smaller hook seems to do a little bit better on the smaller fish, the smaller brim and the whiting. So you can see down here at Scarborough, this is the flats here. Goes out for a couple of 100 metres. Even when you get to the water's edge, it's still quite shallow. It's probably only a foot deep, another 100 metres out. High tide, this is about 2 foot deep, which is just the perfect depth to go topwater fishing for bream in the mornings. So let's get on with it. So we're down at Scarborough, just off the rock wall. We've got a southeasterly breeze. Now, top of the tide here, we're about, I don't know, 4 or 5 nights off a full moon, so the tides are starting to get a bit bigger. So the retrieve is a very simple retrieve. Lots of pauses. As we bring the lure back in, you just see a little swirl behind the lure. You know there's one following. Give it a pause every now and then. And there we go, we're on. It's not a big fish, but it's a nice fish. It'll be legal. So we're fishing in about probably 1.5 to 2 feet of water, and we're chasing bream. Gone like last week's pay. There's one following. Come on, take it, take it, take it. We're on. It's only a little one. Oh, straight into the rocks. Knows what to do to get off. Oh, he's only just hooked. I may not get this one up. Come on. Oh, he's almost legal. This one, not a bad fish. Another nice little bream caught on the Bass Day Sugar Pen. So that's the lure. That's the fish. We'll put him back. Well, that brings us to the end of another video. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you got something out of it. If you did, hit the like button. If you haven't, subscribe. And it really does help the channel. And thanks for watching. I'll catch you on the next video.